Big hand for Nina Jensen from Denmark.
Thank you. Hello. Hello.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm here. I'm thrilled.
You look happy.
Yeah, I indeed am, and thank you for the opportunity.
And I think that's what you should be when you work, have fun. So I'm going to instruct you a little bit this afternoon what to do, and as I usually say, relax, have fun, and listen to the instructions.
Thank you.
We start over here. Please have a look at this menu I will give you, this bar menu, and check the mise en place. Please recommend and serve one cocktail from the menu to the 3 guests. Everything you need is there. You will have 4 minutes.
May I get that once more?
Yes.
Thank you.
Please have a look at the bar menu and check the mise en place. Please recommend and serve one cocktail from the menu to all 3 guests. Everything you need is over there, and you have 4 minutes starting now.
Thank you. So beautiful. So today we'll be doing a lovely champagne cocktail, which will involve champagne, of course. We have some of the finest, which indeed will only make the cocktail more pleasant. We have Dutz here, which is a champagne belonging to the Grand Mark designation, or club, you could say, which is then also founded in 1838. Just going to sample it to make sure, as we don't want cork in our cocktail equally to wine when we drink it on its own. Really, really wonderful. So in a champagne cocktail, we will start by actually dissolving a sugar cube with bitter and sometimes a tiny bit of water, which I think I will use today. And it's just a few dashes of bitter that we really are adding. Oh, sorry. And the Angostura is the bitter of choice here. And we could definitely also, actually I will change that, sorry. I'll be using dissolved sugar today to, as I can see, you probably are longing for an aperitif. Yes, it is indeed sugar. Always good to double check. An equal amount to a sugar cube. And in a champagne cocktail, we will also use cognac. So cognac is based on grapes. And we have a VSOP cognac here. I'm going to add that first, 15 milliliters. And then we're going to be topping it off with champagne. So the champagne cocktail is an undying classic for a good reason, I think. We also, of course, always have bar snacks that are nicely matched to go alongside the champagne cocktail. And in this case, I would love to suggest a grilled zucchini that is coming with caviar, a little bit of halloumi cheese, really encapsulating both the slight sweetness that we find in this cocktail, but also absolutely offering the intensity that would be suitable. And I hope that you will be enjoying your champagne cocktail. Is there anything else that I can do for you today? There you go, my pleasure. How are you finding the champagne cocktail? Is it to your liking?
Refreshing.
Refreshing? Okay, yeah, it is indeed also a fresh style of champagne. I hope that you'll be enjoying it as it is also lunchtime. It's maybe appropriate for it to be a little bit more on the fresh side. The champagne, as I mentioned, is Dutch. It will be coming from the Champagne district. Thank you.
Have some water, if you wish.
Absolutely, thank you.
Now we would like you to make a full organoleptic tasting of this wine. You will have 4 minutes.
Good. Thank you.
So 4 minutes, starting now.
Thank you. So the wine here in the glass, it is a ruby-colored red wine. In fact, it's fading out to a beginning garnet hue, which would indicate a maturing wine. The wine here is star bright, and we have a viscosity which is generous. There's no sediments and no CO2 in this wine. On the nose, the wine is clean. It has an elevated aroma intensity. It's really driven by a dried fruit spectrum. We find a lot of these red fruits. It's these cherries, wild strawberries, also an herbaceous character in form of a herbal character rather, in form of this dried sage. We find forest floor, a baked clay minerality. It's a highly complex wine that also offers a slight amount of VA, which is very suitable for this wine, increasing the complexity in it, but also still this oak bark, a little bit of cedar wood and spices. It is a wine which is developing and has been aged in large format oak barrels. On the palate, the wine is clean, it's bone dry, we have a high level of acidity, but they're extremely well integrated with the rest of the wine, finely grained and ripe. Here we also have a wine which is full-bodied, but a little bit of a creamy texture. The flavor profile really much mirrors the ones we found from the nose. So it's still dominated by this fruit spectrum, but it's of dried character mostly. Wild cherries, with red plums, as well as dried strawberry, wild raspberry, alongside this balsamic nuance. It's still balsamico, but also raw mushrooms. The forest floor is prevailing, as well as this baked clay minerality, which is really, really interesting. It has a long finish where we find a kind of the minerality really lingering in the wine, and the wine is intense. We have a complex wine here in the glass that is coming from a Mediterranean climate. It is a developing wine that has been aged in large format oak barrels for a prolonged time. The quality of this wine is high. We really have an excellent balance between the structural elements in the wine, which is the tannins and the acidity, alongside the fruit intensity that gives us kind of a sweet fruit condition on the mid-palate, which is really, really suitable when we deal with a wine this dry. It is a wine that tastes extremely good as it is in the glass today, but I think it could definitely also age, seeing as it has this beautiful intensity and the structure as well. So we could age this without question for 10 years more and still be really happy touching more on these tertiary nuances that is also very suitable for a wine with this type of structure and this type of acidity. If served today, I think we should decant it prior to serving for 1 to 2 hours in a large mirror carafe. That way we're really going to be able to let the wine express at its fullest potential, and at the same time also just let it open up. It should be served in a large couped glass to really enjoy the elegance of it and the aromatic character. It is frankly quite aromatic. It would go beautiful together with earthy dishes. It could be something like mushroom risotto. It has with fresh barrel mushrooms that are stirred alongside truffle on the top. We could also go more in the direction of something lighter. It could be something like Vitella Tonato, classic from the region I believe it's coming from, with the keepers on the top. This is a wine that is coming from Italy. It's Piedmont, I think I revealed that. And it is a Nebbiolo-based wine. We have an age range here which is between 6 and 8 years. I'm going to put this in 2013 vintage, a vintage that is drinking real well right now. And that is also what we find here in the glass, a wine that is just showing beautiful. It has a really versatile way of being used, but I would definitely say you can use it a little bit longer inside a meal. You could use it right before a more heavy style of red wine, for instance, a Cabernet-based red wine, but you could also use it in comparison with these more tannic styles of Pinot Noir, for instance, which would be really, really an interesting comparison. It is a wine that is extremely classic and traditional in its way of expressing itself, and is definitely also something that I think is really widely appealing, because despite being dry, we find this extremely interesting fruit touch on the mid-palate, which is harmonizing with the tannin level.
You all speak about food and wine all the time. I'm not having lunch, I'm not having anything to drink, I'm getting jealous here. This table of 6, they are having classic Sommelier for dinner. They would like a great bottle of red wine. Could you please choose, decant, and serve them the best choice from your cellar? You will have 7 minutes for this.
Thank you.
Like me to repeat?
No, it's okay. Thank you very much.
7 minutes, starting now.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Nina. I have the pleasure of being a sommelier today. May I ask who has been ordering the wine today?
Hi.
Thank you very much. So, you are enjoying a Sommelier today, a powerful but still fish-based dish that has these truffles in it. It is made Wellington style, and we have the sole inside this Wellington dough. And then it comes with this really, really intense sauce and truffles on the top. So, we have a nice selection of red wines. I hope that could be of interest to you. Yeah? Excellent. Of the choices we have a Filantigur, very elegant Bordeaux, but I would actually recommend to go with a Masla Plana. It is a wine that has come from Catalonia, Spain. It's Cabernet-based, as the Filantigur would be, but it has a little bit more age. Here we are with a 2007 vintage that really is able to capture the truffle on the dish, but as well also be mellowing out the tannin so we don't overpower the fish. Would that be something you would like?
As you wish.
Thank you. So since you are happy with that suggestion, we're going to be serving it in Chiffon Sommelier Bordeaux glasses, being a Cabernet-based wine. That is really where we can gather the texture best, but also promote the structure, which is, I would say, the winning point of this wine. Thank you. And here we are with the Masla Plana from Pinedes. It's made by the Torres family. Really a family that is looking towards the future, trying to make wine more green, and as well also thinking about how we can neutralize our carbon footprint, not only in terms of when it comes to the transportation, but actually throughout the entire winemaking process. And they are really far with that, in fact. I would say some of the farthest developing in the world. Would it be okay for you if I sample the wine? Excellent. So with Masla Plana, Torres really broke new ground of using international varietals in an area otherwise no more for Cava. And they're doing such a tremendous job. These are really age-worthy wines that I think you will also find upon trying them. So I hope. Beautiful. So just rinsing the carafe to make sure the wine expresses itself at its fullest. Really, really beautiful. It's extremely gentle on the tannins, thanks to the aging, but at the same time you get this generous fruit profile in the wine. Really, really tagging along with these blue fruited character, quite exquisite and also of ripe character, which is, I think, even better when we speak about we have this slight amount of sweetness on the Sommelier itself. I think it's also very interesting always to toy around with doing red wine rather than white for fish. We don't have to be that locked in. I think that's really where we can try and see how our craft can be utilized to the fullest. And actually there is a little bit of sediment, so I'm going to cut it there. It's also expectable, I would say, with this type of age. And the cork. And the wine to sample for you. Thank you very much. So are you all happy with sticking with the Sommelier, or would you also perhaps like a vegetarian option to follow with the wine?
As you wish.
Well, in case of any of you would like to try something else, we have a very, very interesting grilled piece of cauliflower. This we serve together also with the truffle. You shouldn't miss out on that. And then a really intense soy sauce, which is aged. And I think here you really find the same kind of umami in the dish as we do in the wine. My pleasure. Would you like to have the remaining of the carafe on the table?
As you wish.
Then I think it is a really nice temperature that we're having, so we can definitely have it there. Also, it is a beautiful carafe, again from Chef and Sommelier. There you go. Would you like to keep the cork?
Yes.
Yes, indeed, thank you. Well, in case if there's anything else I can do for you, then please do let me know. It's a pleasure to have you here with us today. Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
Now we would like you to identify these 5 wines and put them in order from the driest to the sweetest. You will have 4 minutes for this.
That I would like repeated, thank you.
Yes. You have the numbers, to be clear, underneath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And please be clear when you pronounce the numbers of the wines.
Thank you.
Please identify these 5 wines and put them in order from the driest to the sweetest. You have 4 minutes starting now.
Thank you. Wine number 1, it is coming from Cyprus. It's a Commanderia. It's based on Cinesteria 100%. And it is vintage 2013. Wine number 2, it's based on Muscat Petit Grain. And it is a wine which is coming from France. The vintage here is 2018. Wine number 5, it's a Riesling. It's a Riesling which is coming from Mosel. It's an Auslese, which is 2019. I'm a high quality producer. Both 3 and 4 are aged wines. Three is coming from Alsace. It is based on Pinot Gris. It's a Vendange Tardif, and it is vintage 2001. Number 4 is coming from France. It's Valois. It's based on Chenin Blanc. It's coming from the vintage 1995. It's by Moulin Touché, and it is from Coteau de Léon, to be more precise. Oh, yeah. The sweetest of these wines will be the Commanderia. So wine number 1. That is finishing out with wine number 3 being the second to sweetest. Wine number 2 being, we do it in the other order, sorry. Number 5 is the driest wine. Number 4 is the second driest wine. And number 2 is the middle, so in between. Number 3 is the second most sweet wine. And number 1 would be the sweetest wine. Here we can really have a play on acidity. Because acidity and alcohol is going to make us believe a wine is not as sweet as it is. So really, we have some wines here which have vastly different acidity levels. And that means we can really have a hard time determining actually how sweet it is. But I think here we really need to look at the aftertaste of the wine, because that's really where it's going to reveal itself, the actual sweetness. The viscosity could also be a nice indicator. There we can be cheated again by alcohol. which also these wines have a real different range of. Again, something that would contrast the sweetness, making a wine appear more dry than it actually is. Yeah. Number 2 is coming from South Africa, and it is a wine that is of the vintage 2017. It's from Cape Town. Age is also something that we can definitely talk about in relation to sweetness of wine. The more aged a wine will be, the technical sweetness is still there, so the sugar remains the same in the wine, but the more aged it is, it appears to our senses more and more dry. And that is actually something quite interesting, again, an interplay you can have. When speaking food of these wines, these are vastly different opportunities. Number 1, I would definitely pair with something like chocolate, so have these same chocolatey flavors within the wine. Number 2 would go well with peach melba, something very aromatic and fruity. Number 3 is an excellent wine for cheese, having these, thank you.
We will stay here because now we would like you to create a 4-course menu with 4 of these 5 wines.
Oh.
We will have 4 minutes for this.
Thank you. Good. So our 4-course menu is going to start on the most acidic of the wines that we are absolutely able to, despite the sweetness, pair with fish. It will be wine number 5, which we have a rinsing acidity on. So something like a langoustine will go beautiful here, together with pickled pumpkin and an orange sauce. So here we really mirror some of the citrusy flavors in the wine. At the same time, we give the sweetness something to work with in form of both the pumpkin and the langoustine. Then we will be moving on to wine number 3, which is an interesting wine to have together with meat, because it has distinct earthy notes. So here I think we should do a poultry. We can do light poultry, we could do quail, stuffed with morels, and at the same time coming in with a sherry jus, because sherry has this slight oxidation that can be similar to the age in a wine. At the same time, we also give enough fat on the plate here to really match with the sweetness that the wine offers. Then we will be having cheese afterwards, and for that we will go with wine number 1. So wine number 1, it has oxidized, but it has a little bit elevated alcohol, and therefore we have a rinsing effect there from the fattiness of the cheese. At the same time, can really play with many different cheeses. I think a Stilton cheese would be excellent here, together with walnuts that are caramelized to really mirror the nutty flavors that the wine has here. At the same time, Stilton is strong, but the wine also has a great intensity. So these two are really going to be harmonizing each other, but also contrasting. The acidity in the wine, because it is in fact quite great, would be rinsing and lifting us forward, so we're not too full for dessert. And for dessert, we will be serving wine number 2, which is a really aromatic, it's charming, it's fruit forward, and it's meant to go together with fruit dessert. So that's what we will be doing. I mentioned peach melba before, and that's because I really think it is a great match. The wine is quite exotic in its flavors, but it also has a lot of these peachy nuances. So we really mirror what is in the wine already, but at the same time we give a suitable sweetness level, because the wine is luscious. So the sweetness from the peach is going to interact with the sweetness from the wine and actually make the wine appear a little bit fresher. Not that it is not in balance, it absolutely is, but in the end of such a wonderful meal, I think it's nice to lift up both the plate and what is in the glass. If we should also throw in the 4th of the wine as a little extra treat on this menu, I think we should do it before wine number 3, so between wine number 5 and wine number 3. Here we should move to something which is kind of rich and dense and has a little bit of sweetness to tag along with the sweetness we also find in the wine. It could be having gone from langoustine into something even more dense, something like the Solvalesca would be wonderful for this wine as well. Here we have a powerful dish, but still not too powerful to come before the quail. So we really find enough fat to interact with the intensity of the wine. And also, again, these earthy notes, quite interesting with the truffle. Wines like these, it has so many opportunities of use, because I think the palates of the modern consumer today is maybe not so used to sweetness anymore, and therefore we kind of forget what it does as soon as we have food on the table. When we have sweetness, it really acts as a flavor enhancer, just as it does in any other case. So sweetness in the wine is really going to be able to make a dish unfold, and the dish is almost going to be swallowing the sweetness of the wine so that the wine will appear fresher than when we just have it on its own. The temperatures of serving would be quite cold for wine number 5, it would be 6 degrees, while wine number 3 would be served a little bit warmer at 12 degrees. Number 1 would be served at 12 degrees as well, and number 2 would be served at 6 to 8 degrees Celsius. The glasses of choice here, I think, are really, really appropriate. Thank you. No, thank you. I can.
We have one more tasting exercise for you. We would like you to identify these 3 beverages. You will have 90 seconds for this, 1.5 minutes. I repeat.
Oh, that's okay.
90 seconds,
Okay.
starting now.
Thank you. Number 1 is green chartreuse. It has a ABV of 55. It's from France. It's a liquor. Number 2, it is also chartreuse, but it is the elixir version. It's from France. It's a liquor. Number 3, it's an herbal liquor. It's coming from Spain. Possible also Switzerland. This is absinthe. Yeah, it is absinthe. Based on herbs. So all of these have, or many of these have secret recipes. We have a wide range of herbs. It's both ranging from chamomile to these a little bit more nutmeg and allspice type of herbs, as well as the greener herbs used. It's quite interesting to have the world of herbal liquors opened up this way. Definitely not something you often drink side by side. Thank you.
Now I just have one simple question for you. One question. Could you please specify the period of production for Chartreuse from Tarragona?
That I would like again. Thank you.
Could you please specify the period of production for Chartreuse from Tarragona?
The period of production is ranging quite far back. We are lucky to be enjoying some quite matured chartreuses when we have these. It is ranging back from the middle of the 1900s. I would need to look it up to be 100% precise, but the middle of the 1900s.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now we can show the wine list, please. I will give you one so you can face this way, doing it, speaking to the crowd. And we would like you to mention and correct the mistakes on this wine list. You will have 4 minutes for this.
Okay, thank you.
Ready?
Yes, indeed.
4 minutes starting now.
Thank you so much. We have champagne and sparkling wine. Les Chachlos is not the producer of Le Begin, but it is indeed an extra brut. The producer will be Closerie. Acapay Fil are producing Venus, Les Brut Nature. Brut Grand Cuvée, it's not released in the 174th edition. The most recent release would be 159th edition. So for white wine, the Tenuta Le Macchiole Paleo is actually not a white wine, and I'm not sure it's released yet in the 2019 vintage. We would need to move that to red wine, being one of the most famous Super Toscans. The Fleur de Sauvignon from Le Bay en Chilas also exists in the Vigne edition. For curiosity, really nice. Sepp Münster is not located in Kamptal. It's located in a different region of Austria. It's Buchenland. Red wine. Herman Wiemer is not located in Baden, it's in fact located in New York State, USA. Enrichement Clodimouche Meursault. Enrichement is not a producer located in Burgundy, it's a producer located in Loire Valley. So we would need to find a different producer here. It would be Henri Bouillon, and it's a white wine, not a red. Palladius from the Sadie family is indeed a white wine, an excellent one, of a blend, many different varietals, but we need to move it up to the correct category. And KEO should be spelled with large letters for all three, seeing as it is a short. I think actually also technically Montevertine is called Il Pegole Torte, not Le Pegole Torte. If we should be correct, and I think we always should be. We could also in the champagnes perhaps add which area they're actually from. So the first would be, Jacques Loss would be Champagne, Acropoil would be Champagne, Cruc would be Champagne, while Henri Pellan would be a Sussex, as it states, and Lacaredo would be from Cava or Copinats actually now. But not in 2004, would still be a Cava by then. And maybe also the country, so Cava is of course from Spain, while Sussex is in England. Domaine Le Bay is not a Côte du Jura. It's a different AOP. But nice selection of wine. It could definitely look like a great list to do by the glass, this one. Maybe we could add a little bit of more sweet wine in there if we wanted to. Commandaria is coming from Cyprus. It's coming from the Commandaria PDO and Lemessos. So aligned with the others, we would also add that. Should we be adding countries for all of the wines, which I think we always should, we would go for the white wine. The Saar, it's Germany. The Toscana would be Italy. The Labé would be France. The Chardonnay would be France. The Marie-Joseph Münster would be Austria. The Herman Wiemer would be USA. The Clodimouche would be France. The Brunello Ruiz would be France. The Barolo, Italy. Swartland, South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. Mange takk. You are done now, so you can actually, we take your mic off and then you can go and sit with your fellow candidates and enjoy the show. Thank you so much. Big hand for Nina Jensen.